welcome to Draw with the Grandparents. Today we're going to be welcoming in spring with a beautiful snowdrop drawing, so let's get started. As usual, we're going to start with the very first step, which is going to be a very easy step, and then we'll just make each step harder and harder. For our first step, we're going to start with 3 semicircle-ish kind of shapes. I'm going to start with one down here. So I'm going to do a semicircle and then a little line, and I kind of want it pointing down that way, if you can see what I mean. I'm then going to do one over here, a little semicircle, just like that, pointing over there. And finally, I'm going to do one high up, just like this. So this is going to be the start of our snowdrops, and each semicircle is representing where we're going to put a flower. I'm then just going to join that up with what is going to be the stem of our flower. So I'm bringing a circle round and then down kind of to the middle of our page, just like this. I'm then going to do a big line coming up from here, curving at the top, and then just coming straight down like this. You can make it a little bendy if you like, but again, just bringing it to the middle here. And then one final curvy line coming from this stem. And I'm actually going to curve this round and then just bring it straight down like that. And I'm really happy with that. So if you want to pause and do our first step. With our second step, again, I'm just going to start on this flower, and I'm going to start with a leaf. So I'm going to bring a curvy line up and point it up to there, and then bring it down just to attach to the stem. I'm then going to do a leaf on this flower, and I'm just going to come up like this and then down. My final leaf is coming over here, just like this, and they're all quite similar, these leaves, so if you just bring them down and join them up there. I'm then going to work on the actual flowers. So on this one, I'm doing a curvy line that's pointing like that. I hope you can see that, and then curving this line to here. So that line there is not a straight line. If you compare it with my pencil, it's not straight, it's definitely curving like this, but it's very little curve. I'm going to do the same over here. I'm doing a curve to point to here, and then a curve around there. So very similar shape. And then I'm doing a big curve to point here and joining that up with a kind of straight line. I'm then going to come over for the final flower, which again is a curve and another curve. Curve to this side, joined up with another curve, and that is our second step. To start the third step, I'm just going to put in a little bit of ground for the flowers to sit on down here. So I'm going to do a very curvy line. I'm going to bring it up to the flowers and then maybe down a little bit. This does not have to be neat or tidy, it's just a little bit of ground for the flowers. I'm then going to do some, I think it looks like some blades of grass, or maybe it's some weeds just coming up. So I'm doing one here, I'm doing one that's curved off to the side, maybe someone's trampled on that one, just like this. One that's coming up here, and I'm going to make this one quite thin. And then one over here, which is going to have lots of curves in it, just like that. So that's going to be the bottom part of our picture. We can then come up and just finish the flowers. So I'm going to do 2 petals on either side of this one. So I want that one to be pointing down, but still on the left side of our middle petal that we've already done, and then bring this one round just to do a similar thing, pointing down like that. For this one, we're just going to do a kind of curved line to do one in the middle, and I'd like that middle bit to be a curve like that. And then the final one over here, again, some curves meeting in the middle. But with this one, we're actually going to draw a little jagged line in there, and we are going to do that bit in a different colour. So if you keep watching, I'm going to show you how we colour our snowdrop picture. For the painting, I am going to be using my watercolour pencils, which are fab. And if you've been watching the Daily Draw, we use these watercolour pencils every single day. They're amazing. So I'm going to start with this very dark green, and I'm going to just bring it over to this side, and I'm going to outline all the blades of grass that we've done. But I want it to be really hard, so as you can see, I'm actually going over them twice to make sure I've got so much pigment on them, because I don't want to colour them in. I just want to go around the outside. Just like this. I'm then going to do the petals on the flowers. All 3 of those, and then all 3 of the stems. We want these to be lovely, neat lines, and we're just going over the lines we've already made, not making any new ones. Once I've finished that, I'm going to take my paintbrush, and if you can't see, I've got some water here, so I'm just dipping my paintbrush in the water, and then I'm going to add it to the picture. Oh, look how beautiful that colour is. So I'm very carefully going to colour each of these, and what you should see is that the paint travels from the outside of the stem, which we coloured in, and it goes all the way to the middle. So just use some paint on the outside, travels to the middle, which gives it an overall sense of this lovely green with a bit of an outline too, which is a really nice effect. So that's what it should look like on the leaves, and on the leaves of the flowers as well. So just like that, lovely colours. Final leaf. There we go. And then very, very carefully, we want to be very careful with our brush here. I'm going to outline each of the stems very, very carefully. So I'm trying my hardest just to follow the line and just make it look more like paint rather than a pencil mark. And you'll see that that is much darker colour than the leaves because it was fully pigmented. I'm then going to use my light blue colour, and I'm going to start by doing the snowdrops, and again I'm only going to outline them, and I actually want this to be quite a light outline, so I'm not pressing hard like I did with the leaves and the blades of grass at the bottom. I'm just going very, very lightly. And again, I'm making sure my brush is fully clean, because if it's not, when I put my paintbrush to the blue, it's just going to go all green. So just adding a layer, and you'll see that that is actually quite a dark blue. And I'm just going to show you how I'm going to change this from being a really dark blue colour all over to a lovely light blue, because snowdrops, they're not really blue, are they? They're much more of a white colour. So I've got my kitchen roll here, and I'm just going to fold it up and press onto each snowdrop so that we take the paint off. And we're not taking too much of the paint off because we can still see that blue colour. Just like that. So it's got a bit of an outline, but it's still a lovely light blue colour. I'm then going to take my lighter green. This is a much lighter green than the one we used for the stems. And I'm just going to colour in the little circle here. And you don't really need to turn it to paint because it's such a little part, but I think it just brings it out a little bit more. So there we go. And then the very final part of this painting, we are going to take our yellow and we are just going to do a little bit inside here. And if you want, you could then add a couple of red dots to that too. I'm just going to show you, because I think the blue colour has faded a bit too much there, I'm just going to outline these bits very, very carefully. But you can see I'm not leaning very hard and it's a very light blue colour. So one last bit, the bit of the ground. Sorry, I think I might have said that the yellow was the last bit, but it wasn't. So I'm just going to bring these parts, do a few lines. Doesn't really matter, make it as messy as you like. And then with my water brush, just going to turn it to paint a little bit. But you can see how light I'm making this colour. And then again, I'm just going to bring it down to the bottom so it blends in seamlessly with the back. And that is our finished snowdrop. I hope you really loved that, and if you want, you can add in a beautiful background. You could maybe do your garden, or you could do the woods, or wherever you're going on your daily walks at the moment. Mum is going to be back tomorrow with Lightning McQueen, so if you come back, the video will be available then.